Working on my Dodge 330. Working on painting the interior. I've got all the parts here on some of these alligator clips. Got the dash, the two sides. There's the front seat. I'm going with the bench seat on this model. And then the tub, which has the built-in back seat. I'm going to just do a blue, just make it simple. But I went ahead and I taped off just a strip. This is the white plastic. It's been stripped. I tried to paint it red and it just looked like crap, so I stripped it. But I'm just going to use the white plastic as the white instead of painting it blue and then going back and trying to paint the white. Just doing a little, see how that comes out. And then as you can see, some parts are painted and some are primed and some are just white. That's because I just stripped these and it's ate into the plastic, and I don't think it needs a primer. We'll see how it goes. I'm using the Model Master Acryl. This is French blue. Just a good, nice blue color. Not too dark, not too light. The thing about these Model Master Acryls, you gotta mix them, and you can't shake them enough. I mean, shaking them is not enough. Taking a toothpick in there is not enough. You've got to, this is pretty much essential with these Model Master colors, is a mixer. Just set her down in there, turn it on. Kind of let it sit in there a while, kind of near the bottom, and they will just, this is the only way to get these colors good and silky smooth and get them well mixed and to where they'll bind good, not peel on you, and where they'll spray good and all. The thing about these Model Master acryls is they vary. Some are really thick, some are thin, some are in between. So there's not really much of a ratio for airbrushing them. I mean, this is pretty darn thin. Very thin, actually. I would probably just put just a little bit of thinner in there. Just airbrush it. Just cleaning it off cleaning it off there in a bottle of water. All right, I'm gonna use my Thaler and Chandler Omni 5000, which is a fairly fine needle, but it does all right. It sprays pretty wide if you need it to. If you back off. So I think what I'll do, let me dig up in here. Let me get my thinner. Where is it? Oh, right here. I highly recommend using the thinner for the paint. Don't bother with alcohol and Future and Windex and all that kind of stuff. Just use the thinner that comes with the paint. Put a little squirt. It's probably about maybe 3 or 4 drops. You can use Future. I don't want the interior to be real high gloss, which this is a gloss paint. So I'm going to come back with some dull color or something and dull it out to make it look more like fabric or material or vinyl. All right, clean that off. I just got a bottle over here on the side that I'm squirting through. It's got water and a little bit of soap in it. And I keep that off to the side here to clean off stuff. That should be more than enough paint to paint everything. Even though the paint's thin, I found it's worthwhile putting a little of the Tester's thinner in it because it just helps it flow better and spray better. Even though it's thin, some of these paints are just thick, real thick, and you've got to really thin them down. That's one of the things with this Model Master Acryl. It's not for, maybe it's not for the beginner. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to plug this in. I'm running about 15 to 20, somewhere in there. see from a distance, it comes out pretty strong, and if I get real close, I can make little squiggles. That's about what you want. That looks pretty good, actually. I like that. Alright, and then I'm just going to spray. In fact, let me get this stuff out of the way so I don't get a bunch of overspray on everything. And just in the middle of a job here, guys. I thought maybe you just join in with me and watch me build a model. Do a little painting. Whoa, I'm shaking a little too much here. I've got the cup a little full, so I need to be careful not to be going crazy with it. Just putting a light coat on first from a distance. Just from a distance. That's the beauty of the airbrush. You can't get this kind of control with a spray can. I mean, it'd just be spraying a very heavy coat on it real quick like so. Airbrush is so easy. Really, when it comes to just spraying color like this, it doesn't take long to master that at all. The only thing you got to master is learning how to thin it, where it doesn't spatter or where it doesn't go on too thin where it runs real bad or something. And then you can just spray it lightly. And look, I've just no effort. I mean, that's a pretty darn good finish. You won't get that from a spray can. Not that nice, a clean, thin finish. We'll set that aside and let that dry a little bit. Go ahead and hit the sides. Kind of make sure I'm spraying okay. Always kind of test it a little bit on the side. And then just give her a little light spray. You don't try to cover it, and definitely you don't want it real wet like you're trying to do a finish on a body or something. Just a very light coating. I'll go ahead and, I don't know if I should spray the back or not. Hell, I'll just do it anyway. Go ahead and spray the back too to see. And I'm not worried about getting it real even or anything. I'm just a light little spray, nothing to it. Go ahead and do the other side. There's nothing to it. I mean, you could use a single action airbrush here. We're just putting paint on. We're not trying to achieve an effect or something. Just a light spray. Let that tack up for just a little bit. It doesn't take long. And then come back to it. And just keep going doing that until you feel like you've got a good, nice coat. Ain't much to it. It's so easy, guys. It really is. I mean, airbrush is a way to go. We all know that. If you don't have an airbrush, work towards getting one. But you know what? I wouldn't worry so much about what airbrush to get if I was just starting out or thinking about it. I'd get a good compressor. The compressor is what costs the money. The compressor, a good compressor, is where you're going to really spend your money. You can buy a Harbor Freight airbrush and get good results from it and spend 30 bucks. But when it comes to the compressor, then you got to decide, do I need something, can I just use any compressor? I don't worry about the noise. Well, then you can get just a regular old compressor, which is great. But if it's like you want something for your hobby room that you want really quiet and you don't want to bother people at night and stuff when you're airbrushing, well, then you're going to have to spend some money, $300 to $300 bucks, or more for an airbrush compressor like that. So that's where your money's going to go. So if I was just getting into it and offering advice on airbrushes and compressors, I'd say save as much money as you can and spend as much money as you can on your compressor, and then just get any airbrush, whatever. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's your compressor that's gonna shut you down. Keep you from being able to paint when you want to. If it's too loud or it's just not convenient, or the compressor isn't worth a crap. It's too weak. You can't spray high enough. get your compressor situation figured out, and then worry about your airbrush. You know, Apache or Badger, and you know, I see a lot of, I've seen situations more than once where a guy will go out and he'll spend $150 on a Iwata airbrush, and then start asking around, you know, well, what kind of compressor should I, you know, man, you should have got that situated before you even thought about your airbrush. Your compressor is like your motor. You know, your airbrush is like your carburetor. You know, get your motor figured out and then decide what carburetor to get, you know, and what you got left or what you can afford or what you're willing to save for. But anyway, enough of that. I'm sitting here rambling on. But my videos are going to start being more like this from now on. I'm just going to show random videos of me doing stuff and spraying or building or just what I'm doing. A lot like MJ, Stress Factor. I really like his videos because he just, you sit there and you watch him, man. It's like building with, sitting next to somebody building a model. You know, instead of just seeing a video of a finished model and all that, which are cool. I like to just actually see somebody, just sit there and watch them, you know. Watch them doing stuff. Whether it's right or wrong or there's a better way to do it or whatever, doesn't matter. You know, just tune in. What the heck is the guy up to this week, you know? I like that format, and I think I'm going to start doing that. And this is my first experiment at that, so and just take it with a grain of salt, you know. Put another, just a light. Now, you know, I'm just going back and putting a light coat. As you can see, that's just, you know, my camera's not the best. That's something I'm going to work on, but it's just, as you can see, that's just a super smooth, beautiful coat of paint. See, I laid that on the paper, so I kind of screwed up. Sprayed a little on the back. Put my little stand over here. You can't see it out of the way, but it's just a little stand. It's got holes in it. Alright, and just a light coat back on these sides here. Alright. Not a lot of paint coming out, but airbrush paint is very strong, and it doesn't take much. A good airbrush paint. Got to be a little bit more. I'm using this Model Master Krill, like I said, and all I'm doing is I'm just sucking a little bit out with the tube there, put a little bit in, and a couple drops of the thinner, and then grabbing a toothpick. You know, that's half a toothpick. But anyway, just kind of mix it up a little. It kind of mixes together automatically, but make sure you're spraying good. Always check your spray before you start spraying on your model itself. And then just a little light coat, bam. Alright, set that aside to dry. And this will dry, this acryl, it'll dry to the touch in about 5 minutes. Right now I'm just going to do an overall, just general spray on this interior tub. But not too heavy. That's about good, actually. That's fine. Alright, I'm going to shut off the camera here and let this dry for about maybe 10-15 minutes. Give it a good dry. And then we'll just go from there. Alright, it's dried about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull this masking off. Use my knife. Trying to get it going. Grab it with the tweezers. Oh yeah, that's sweet. Not bad. I like that. Same front seats, same thing. Take my knife and kind of get it started. A little bit of, tiny bit of bleed through there. That's no problem. I can just take some white paint and touch that up. Now, what's interesting about this model is that, or this interior, again, I got a little bleed through. I'll just touch it up with white. This, all around the edge is like this raised rim, and here is two raised areas, and here. Same thing on the back seat, all the way around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with dull coat, dull it down to where it's, I mean, this happens to be a gloss paint, and I don't want a gloss interior, I want it flat. So I'm going to spray it with dull coat. I'm going to let that dry good for probably a couple hours or so, just real good and dry. And then I'm going to take my knife, or possibly a piece of sandpaper, but something, probably my knife, and I'm going to scrape that exposed edge, and it'll make it look like white piping going around the seats and stuff. So that's my next step. I'm going to go ahead and spray everything with dull coat. And then if I want to go back and gloss up the dash here, I'll come back and gloss that. And there's a little interior, the gauge, or gauge face, or whatever you want to call it, that goes up in here. I've stripped it and chromed it again because it just looked like crap. It was chrome, but it didn't look very good. So I stripped it, sprayed it in gloss black, sprayed it with chrome, and then I'll come back and detail it. And there's also some decals that came with the kit. There's some decals that came with the kit for like the gauges and stuff. I might use these, I guess, I don't know. Probably just go ahead and use them. I'm not going to put a whole lot into this model. This ain't going to be one of my super best model I ever built or anything, but this is a good practice model for some stuff, these things that I'm trying out here as far as interiors and stuff. You know, I mean, if I really wanted to go out, I would, you know, I could put some of that flocking down and all that, but in this case, I'm not going to do that. Now, on the interior doors, it has a lot of little panels and stuff on it, and I just sprayed it blue. Now, I may come back. I'm thinking I will come back if I can get some white paint mixed up just right and just flooded in a panel line here and there, and so to kind of match with the seats and stuff, you know, where they got the white, and just have like a white panel. And if I screw up, I'll come back and touch it up with some of the blue. That's the beauty of using bottle paints. You can come back and touch up. You know, I'm not stuck with the spray can color, and if I screw it up, I can't do nothing. I can just go back and dip a brush in here and touch up, and then just spray the whole thing flat. It'll blend it right in. That's where I'm at. Pretty much doing the interior. Let me show you what I've done. I've got the chassis is done on the car, completely done. Wheels, everything's glued, painted, touched up, highlighted, even down to the little screws and stuff. I don't know if you can see that. Then I've got my engine done. I've got it wired. I've got, it's more of a red than an orange color. It's not a true well, this isn't the Hemi. This is the wedge motor. But you know, I just did some details and the wires up in the you know, the wires up in there and all that kind of stuff. And then as far as like the radiator and the hoses and all that, the main thing is just, you know, not a super detailed, but trying to do it right and do it square and nice and get everything fitting well and a nice paint job. It's going to be a good little kit. It's going to look real nice. I've painted the wheels the silver color that I'm going to go ahead and paint the body. And I think I'm going to do like a two-tone with black and that silver. Not sure how that's going to work out. I ain't figured it all out yet, but that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the chrome dog dish caps on these wheels as well. I'm saving that for last because I want them to be nice and clean, and you know, that's something I'm gonna do at the end of building the model, is putting those real chrome dog dish caps on. But yeah, that's where I'm at on that. As far as the body and all that kind of stuff, it's still in primer. Well, here's the interior roll cage. It's all done. All nice and neat. Real pretty. That'll actually sit in here. That'll actually sit in here like that. What I did is I actually built the roll cage. I took this piece and then set this piece in here, kind of temporary glued it, and then I glued my bars on and everything. And then I took everything out and then sprayed it chrome. And then I came back and did my black roll bar. That's how I did that. So I don't have to go back after I've done all my interior and start piecing this together and painting. I want it to be just a drop-in piece, just like that, where it's just super clean, no worry of overspray or anything like that. And that's how I've done that. But yeah, it's coming together really nice. I'm liking the way this model's coming together. Not really much else to show right now. I'm going to go ahead, I guess at this point, I'm going to go ahead and dull coat the interior. All the stuff I sprayed blue, I'm going to dull coat it. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of white paint and touch up, well, just on this seat here where some of it kind of seeped. I'm going to go ahead and touch that up, and then I'm going to dull coat everything. And then probably work on this dash piece here that has that chrome insert, and get the decals on it, and maybe highlight it and put a little interest on that. And I'll probably go ahead and just chrome the buttons and stuff. Then I'll be able to take my steering wheel, which I've already finished. I've got it. It's black with the chrome horn ring and all that stuff. And then it's black, and then it's got a chrome stem. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put that in. So the dash will be done. And then I think I'm going to take some Future on a brush and just shine. This might be kind of flat looking, but I'm going to shine that, you know, put that gloss coat over the dash here. But then the interior stuff will be flat. And that's where I'm at. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned. We'll take it from there.